Hello everyone, welcome to another Inkarnate live stream. Today we're going to be doing Secrets of the Citadel Ruins Part 5. In the previous episode, we put together ruins and some details. We went over a lot of cool tricks, how to add natural elements, how to create obstacles, and more interactive environment for your combat. In today's stream, we're actually going to be making the Citadel itself and all the various floors. It's going to be a tower. A Citadel is a tower, and we're going to put multiple floors. We're going to be building that with the Shape tool. Now, I did do a couple changes off screen. I did break the bridge as well as adding some light and shadow to it. But don't you worry, if you want to know how I broke things, don't worry, we're going to be showing that in this stream when we make the Citadel. Now, I also want to let you know that if you need to make requests for videos, you can go ahead and check out this link that I've added in the chat. That way you can request videos. I see the top one right now is going to be a shipyard, so I'll be making sure to add that to the list. That sounds like fun. So let's just jump right in, okay? So first and foremost, when you're putting together any kind of structure, it needs a foundation. Buildings are built on top of a foundation. It's a flat, level surface for them to stay structurally stable. When you do not have a good foundation, the building can collapse. Now, the foundation is this kind of thing right here, this little square. I'm actually going to make the foundation circular. It's actually a little bit easier to defend because of the visibility with a circular platform instead of a square one. And also the tower that I'm making, or the Citadel, is a square. And so I don't want to have a square on top of a square. It looks kind of weird. So we'll make the platform a circle. I'm going to go into levels, and I'm just going to delete this. Delete the clipping mask that I put on there. And then I'm going to make a circle instead. Use this shape here, turn the fill off. I'm also going to click circle like this. Okay, about that size looks good. And as you can see, the stroke is way too big, so we'll bring that down. There we go. About a little bit bigger, I think. Oh no, it's a little too big. My bad. There we go. There's the platform. Okay, I'll go ahead and put it right up against here like this. I want to completely hide the circle, and then I might make it a little bit, the size is still too big, and then we'll add a clipping mask because we want to be able to paint. So I'll go into here, clipping masks, a circular one's going to work great. It looks like I might need to transform that a little bit. Let's go to advanced settings, go to transform, and then get rid of the transformations by just clicking X, and it will go back to its default. Here we go. Scale it up a little bit. There we go. All right, it's looking all right. Scale it up until it fills in the whole thing. There we go. Perfect. There we go. All right, sweet. So the foundation is done. Now we can put the square part on. And I'm going to just go ahead and lock everything up so that I don't accidentally click anything. We'll go back to the shape tool and click the rectangular shape. And then we're going to make the shape like that. And actually what we'll do is we'll turn on the grid so that I can actually see. There we go, that looks good. And we're going to make it 3 by 3, and that'll be about 15 feet. And if you're thinking, well, that's not a lot of room, don't worry. We're going to add in a stairwell tower, because the stairwell tower is a way to free up room in the center of the tower. One of the biggest struggles that I see when putting together a tower is making room to squeeze everything in. A stairwell tower will put that to the side, and then you'll have plenty of room for your players to move around. So I'm going to turn snap to grid. If you're wondering where snap to grid is, it's at the bottom here, snap to grid. If you can't see that, then I'm not sure what's going on with that. Let me go and put this here, 3 by 3. I think that looks good. And we'll bring the stroke size down like this. I think that looks about right. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and turn the grid off. I don't need that anymore. And I just want to get the shape right. I'm going to quickly save. And then we're going to go ahead and do a resize. And I always do a resize when I want to create interiors so that they're separate from the exterior part. So once it's done saving, is we'll resize it and then start making room for the interiors. And there's going to be 4 floors. Each floor is going to have its own theme. And some floors are going to be broken, and then they'll have to go on some boardwalk on the outside of the tower to get to the next floor because the stairwell tower has been destroyed. Whenever I'm making a rubble or a broken section of a tower, I usually put the rubble and the broken parts at the top, because if the broken parts are at the bottom, the tower is structurally unstable and will likely collapse. So the bottom portions, the bottom parts of the tower or citadel are well enforced, but the top parts will be broken. Okay, we'll show you how to do that. So if you go over to the grid tool and go to resize from region, and I'm going to put snap to grid, and then I'm going to click, hold, and drag, and we're going to make the room for the tower interiors to the side here like this. Let's go out a little bit further so there's a lot of room. What you don't want to do is have the interior rooms so close to the exterior part that you can kind of see that, especially if you're not meant to see the exterior. I guess that's okay if it's the first floor, but on multiple floors we're going to have the area be black. So we'll go ahead and resize about this big, looking at the size of the tower floors. I think that's about right. We want enough room for 4 floors. I'm going to click confirm. I'm going to turn off this new map, remove all the objects. I don't want to remove them. A lot of them are going outside of the canvas. I'm going to save and proceed. It's going to go ahead and resize the map. And resizing basically rescales things. It's going to scale things down. The more that you add to the canvas with the resize tool, it's going to continue to scale down the stamps, just so you know. Okay. Now I have space on the right side. Now I'm going to take a clipping mask like this, a nice big one, and I'm going to make sure that it's on top, and I'm going to cover up this entire area like this. There we go. And then I'm going to take the color black, and then I'm going to go ahead and fill the FG layer with this. And what we could do is just use this shape right here, apply, and then there's your black space for the rooms. So I can just copy and paste this and make sure that these are up above like this. Now you have this nice black space for the towers. And again, make sure there's a lot of room for all of them to fit in there. If it was like a 10-room tower, you're going to want to resize even bigger. And you don't want these so close to each other like this to where when your players are walking up against the wall in the top one, they can see the walls up here. You want to separate them so there's some space. That's one big thing with the VTTs, is you want to make sure that there's a lot of space in between. Now we can make these a little bit bigger too if we wanted to. They are kind of small, so we can just scale them up if we wanted to. It's up to you. I'm going to turn the grid back on so I can see, and then I'll put snap to grid. I'm going to show the grid, and I'm going to also turn on snap to grid. Snap to grid, there we go. And then this way they are snap to the grid. Okay, put some room here. And instead we can I'm actually thinking of scaling them up a little bit, just a bit. I think that looks good right there. Let's do that. Okay, and we'll start with the base floor. Now you can put the base floor just right here like this, but my suggestion is that you should make the texture in the interior darker, because it's inside, right? When you're outside, direct sunlight. When you're inside, there's not much light going in from the sun because it's inside, right? So we'll go ahead and use a texture, use that same texture, and all you have to do is just go to advanced settings, to go to color and bring the brightness down, and then I'll go in and just fill it like this, apply, there we go. And now you have an interior. And of course, as always, I generally have my floor texture be darker than my wall stamps, because contrast is how you create depth. Not also do I want to create that, but I also want to go ahead and create a door, and we're going to use the portals. And what portals are for is making doors. So I can go like this, and there's the entrance to your door. I'll turn the grid off for now. Kind of overwhelming. And now you have this, you can go in. And what I'll do now is I also want to create the stairwell tower. So I'll probably not copy and paste that, but we'll make the stairwell tower. Make sure that it's set to merge shape. Just go to circle like this. And I'm just going to click right in the corner. And then I'm going to go ahead and bump this, maybe a little bit bigger, about that big. Let's take a look. I think maybe that should be a good size. Let's try that. And then we'll, same thing, want to make sure that you fill in right here. There you go. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and make the stamp. We'll play with the shadows a little bit with the shape tool. And then I'll go ahead and make sure that you can really see the shadows so that it really, really pops out. That's great. And I feel like we should make the stroke a little bit smaller so there's still a little bit more room. There we go. And then we can start adding in the stairs. And you just type in stair in the search field. And then if you don't see the circular stairs, expand all and then you'll find them. And we're going to scale the stairs down. And we want to make sure that it's, there we go. And you can see that you have the stair part there. Let's go ahead and bring the brightness down a little bit because the stairwell tower is going to be even darker, right? Unless there's like a window with direct light going in. Once you've added the stair part, then add in a pillar, because the way that a stairwell tower works is there's a central pillar in which the stairs wrap around. So we'll just go back into that catalog. You can press the F key and just type in pillar. And I like to use this one right here. Let's see, there it is right there. And use one right here. I'm going to put it right on top. And I'm just going to desaturate it so it's still gray. And then I'm going to mess with the shadow so it's real dark. And you can kind of see the shadow around the pillar. There we go. Now you have the stairwell tower going up. And just so you know, if you're wondering how is it that you get up? Just so you know, this is the part that goes up. Oopsie, that is a huge stroke. There we go. Let's go a little bit smaller than that. Okay. This, even that's too small. Let's do this. All right, so the staircase goes up like this, okay? And what you want to do is we want to put probably a wall section right here to show that you can't see the part going up. So we'll go ahead and put this up a couple layers to make sure that this is above. And then we can just use a concrete wall piece like this and just place it right there. I'm going to desaturate it so that it's still gray and then bring it down. Oopsie, wrong one, my bad. This one right here is the one I want, my bad. Go down, there we go. And we're going to use custom object shadow because I want to show that there's some overhang. So we'll go ahead and put a nice sharp blur shadow in there. Okay. Okay, there we go. You see that nice hard shadow there? Okay. So now you have your stairwell tower. So plenty of room in the tower to do combat, to add in stuff, whatever, right? And then we can go ahead and just select all of those, create group, and just call it a template for now. Because you will be changing some of the stairwell. You will be changing some of the stairwell components because you'll want to be able to show the stairs going up and down between floors. And right now, this is just the bottom floor. So I'll copy and paste it and then move it over to here. Just make sure that I bring it up above here. It's already, let's turn the grid back on. I can start lining things up. There we go. I think that looks good. Perfect. There we go. Copy, paste. Now there's 4 floors, so we'll go with this one, this one. Let's go all the way up here. Let's say about, I think that should be enough space. How many squares is that? That looks like 5. Let's go with 5 squares per one. Will that fit? Let's find out. Oop, just barely. Okay, perfect. I think that does fit. And then I can move them over to here if I want to. Well, actually, I only need 3 because that's the bottom floor. So we'll move it this way, move these a little bit this way too. Not this one. I'm going to go ahead and lock that clipping mask so that it's out of the way. Oopsie, did I do both of them? I think I did. My mistake. There we go. Okay, snap to grid. Let's take a look here. I think that looks good. Oopsie, I think I also locked that template. There we go. Okay, let's zoom in and just make sure that once I'm moving around, I can actually see. There we go. Yeah, that looks good. Yep, that way when I zoom in, and just so you know, you don't have to show actual movement in the stairwell tower. Just have them move on a space, particular space, and then they'll teleport to the next floor. So that way you don't actually have to show combat in the stairwell. I mean, that's something that you can do if you want, but I don't. I just like to have a realistic staircase so that it conveys to the players, hey, this is how I go in and out or up to the next floor or whatever. So just so you know, that's how I go about doing that. Now with each floor, I usually have a theme. And the theme is super important because it allows you to focus on what's going to happen on each floor. And with the players on the first floor, I don't generally jump people right into combat right away or a difficult combat because players have just traversed this whole area doing with combat, fighting big monsters. And so combat might be something that they've burnt out on. So maybe they want to do something else. So whenever I think about each level, each floor with the theme, I think about what came before and what's coming next. That way you're not having a series of 4 floors that are all combat. You have a floor that's set to maybe puzzles, one set to traps, one set to investigation, one being the boss fight. So always think about that when you're putting it together. And I think what I'll also do is put in some stairs. I love to put in stairs no matter what. And I'll go ahead and just put it right there. And then I'll go ahead and bring the brightness down a little bit. And then I'm going to change the transform, do the width, and I'm going to bring it down a layer. There we go. And I'm going to make it the same brightness as the texture right there. And now you have this nice stair that kind of goes into the tower. So that works out well. And we have all that. I think what I'll do in the first floor is that we will put together maybe a guard room, and maybe there's like 1 guard down there, or maybe 1 or 2 guards. So simple combat, and then like a mix, simple combat and then researching or finding clues on the floor. And whenever you're figuring out what stamps to put on into a floor, it's the theme that's really going to decide that. So what I do is because it's a guard room, there's a couple things that you would expect. Maybe a table where they're playing cards, maybe a bedroll because that's where they sleep. Maybe there's a weapon rack, and maybe there's a trap door that goes down into a basement area, which we're not including, but you can throw in whatever you want. So just kind of factor that in. And then we'll start with the first one, which is easy, just a table. And we'll do a circular one. And I'm going to turn off snap to grid. I just don't need it right now. And I think I'll put the table over here, and I'm going to change the shadow a bit. Okay, there we go. All right, there's your shadow. And it's inside, so I feel like it's really bright, so we'll bring the brightness down. There you go. And it's a guard room. We don't need fancy tables and stuff, so we just need to put together some simple stools and a table, and then maybe some playing cards or whatever it might be. Let's use these stools, and I want to put them down a layer, and I also want to make them darker. And then we'll also add that custom shadow. Intensity, blur, there we go. And then don't forget to always rotate. If you have multiple stools, rotate them so that the grain is not all facing the same way. If you're not sure what the grain is, it's those lines that you see. That's the grain. Now there's 3 seats here. So one cool thing that you can do is some environmental storytelling. You see that there are 3 seats. If there's only 1 guard down there, where are the 2 other guards? This gives your player a sense of, oh, what to expect. Maybe there's 1 guard on each floor. Maybe there are 2 on the next floor up or at the top with the boss, right? So really helpful to add little things like that, so that it gives inklings to your player what to expect on future floors. So we have that there. And then we'll put something on the table, like some cards. Just make sure that it's up a layer on top. So we'll put some cards there. Oops, right here. Okay, let's take a look. I'm going to make them just a little bit bigger so they're not so blurry. There we go. That looks better. So a pair of cards there. Maybe I'm over here. And what I like to do is have at least one light source on each floor unless it's meant to be super dark for a reason, and that's okay. So we'll type in candle. Make sure that you grab one that's lit. So lit candle and unlit candle. And it doesn't have to be a fancy one. We can just put one maybe in the center of the table. And what I also like to do is have a couple unlit ones as well, just sitting around. There we go. And we'll put a light source down as well, because if you have, and then we'll add a light source. And what I like to do is use two different types of lights. There's orange light, put it up to layer 5, put that in the center there, and then we'll take another light that's not so orange, and then we'll push it over here to the side, and I'm going to bring the opacity down. And one thing you can do is take it down layers if you don't want it to be, the light to be over the walls. But we'll put light right there. And I'll go ahead and turn that grid off since I don't really need it right now. Okay, so there's the first step. Let's also put in a weapon rack, as you would expect. There should be a weapon rack in here. I think there's one in Gothic Horror. Let's try this. There it is right there. Perfect. Okay. Bring that scale back down. Go. I think we should put the weapons like right next to the door. That might be a good idea. Let's put them right here like this. And I want to push them down a layer as well. There we go. Or you can put them next to the table if you want, so that way they can easily access the weapons and then run over to the door. Right, and if we also want to maybe put down a door as well, and there's multiple ways you can go about doors. First one, we can just take a big solid door like this. Metal one kind of makes sense. It's the bottom floor, it's the access to the tower. So putting in a door is a good idea. You can have it open if you want, or not put a door at all. That's up to you. And we can probably put some, let's put some caps on this as well. If I go in here, go to caps. There we go. Now I have some caps there. See these caps? That's perfect. And the stair. We have the weapons. Okay. I think we're just going to go ahead and put one more thing in here because we're already at 23 minutes. Let's throw in crates and barrels. I can tell you right now it's the best filler. If you're just completely unaware or not sure what to put as kind of extra space, crates and barrels are the best thing, right? Because there's always need for storing things in a map. So we'll go ahead and just put down a couple. I always try to have various scale of crates too, so they're not all the same. So crates are a great one. And then of course, I'll also throw in some a dirt texture as well to show that there's some activity going on. So if I just put in dry grass or dry, and we'll make sure to size it, scale it with the size. And we'll also bring the brightness down. So it's not, and then I'll go ahead and make sure it's set to FG layer and then apply the dirt like this. There we go. And then you have dirt going into the first floor. So I think that's looks pretty good by itself right there. You can see. So that first floor is done. I'm at 109 changes. I'm going to quickly save it and then we'll move on to the next floor. And I think the theme will likely be maybe a trap room, or maybe there's a trap door on that floor. And then you can, if your players run up the stairs quickly, just to avoid the person, if that's the way they go, or if they end up killing them. But this top floor will have like well, not top floor, but the next floor above will have a trapdoor, and then maybe that can be used for moving items or kicking an enemy or a creature or whatever off of that and down onto that floor. I usually don't recommend backtracking, but throwing in more than one way to get to a floor is a way to get your players to think about the environment and the different strategy. When there's only one way forward, combat can get boring or a floor can get boring. So make sure that you kind of add that in there. All right, so it's saved and we can get on to the next floor. And again, on this one, instead of having a floor made of stone, we'll have a floor made of wood, okay? Because the higher up you go, you want to minimize the amount of weight, the amount of pressure or tension that you're putting on the bottom part of the foundation. So having floors made of wood decreases that weight. So we'll go ahead and do the next floors using wood. I'll just type in wood, and I kind of want some to be maybe some broken wood like this. You can see this floor right here. So wood, of course, you're going to want to change the size of it. You always have to rescale a stamp. Let's go with, I want some of that broken area to kind of show up. I kind of like that. That looks good. And then I'll have to change the brightness a little bit because I don't want my floor to be brighter than my wall. And then I can go in and use the shape brush, fill it in like this, and apply. Oh, let's go up a little bit. I noticed that. Enter, apply, there we go. And then I also need to change the portal here. I'm just going to select the portal and press delete because there's no need to have a floor that has an outward door because you're on the next floor up. And actually, I think I even want this floor to be even darker. Let's go down to about 46. Let's just see what that looks like. And we'll go back and try it again. Let's take a look. I really do want the floor to be dark. Let's apply that. Let's go even darker. Apply. Let's take a step back and look. Yeah, that looks great. There we go. And see, brown and gray are neutral colors, so they go well together, just so you know. So brown looks good. And I think I'll do the same thing to all the floors as well. Now we do want to show that that you can go to multiple floors. So we'll open up the list here. And what we need to do is take this piece right here. Because you went down this way, this is to the bottom floor, you want to show that it goes up to the next floor and then another floor. So what we'll do is we'll do this right here. And the way that this will work is that, let me figure out this real quick while I put this together, is we want to have it showing that there are two ways. So this one, this floor right here, is the floor that you went up from the bottom floor. This one right here takes you up to the next floor above. I hope that makes sense, okay? So this goes down to the first floor. This goes up to the next floor. So does that make sense? I hope that does. Okay. And I noticed that I missed a spot as well. So let's go ahead and hit that right there. Apply. There we go. All right, perfect. All right, so now that we have that put together, we can start adding some things in the room. Some things you can do is you can add windows, you can throw in some vines. I don't want this portion to be broken. I think I'll have this floor be broken, the middle one right here, and then it goes up to this floor. So we'll be doing some more breaking. But for now, this floor has structural integrity. We might want to throw maybe in a small section that broke if you want, like a very small corner, maybe collapsed. So we could do that. We could go in, go to portals here, click this corner like this. And you see this corner right here is busted. And the way that I go about doing this is that I'll go into the catalog and just type in rubble. Oopsie, let's type this in here. Oopsie, it's because I spelled it rubly. There we go, type in rubble. Where are we at for time here? Okay, oops, not showing up there. Let's try it again. Delete this, type in rubble. There we go, perfect. Let's use these ones. I'm just gonna desaturate them a little bit. There we go. And what I'll do is I'll place them just right on top, like this, to make it look like it broke. Take a couple down a layer, bring the brightness down, and then put them like this. And what this is supposed to represent is that there's the rubble on top, and then there's this darker rubble at the bottom. There we go. And then whenever I do that, I also like to take smaller stones as well, some smaller ones. Wherever you have big chunks, have smaller chunks. We'll desaturate, bring the brightness down, and then just place a couple like this. There we go. Now you have some rubble for your floor. Yep, that looks good. So it's just to kind of give you a heads up. Also, too, to what to expect. The further up you go, the more dilapidated or the more it's falling apart. So now up on this floor, I'll go ahead and turn the grid on so that I make sure that some of the stamps are lined up okay. So players come in, they go this way. And there's a couple things we could do. You could take like a trap door. Just type in trap. And you could have it busted, or you could have it like this, or you can grab, I think there's a bigger one too. Let me see where that bigger one is. Where's that trap door? Let me expand this. There it is right there. Perfect. And we'll use this one right here. Put it right there in the middle. And of course, see how bright that is? Let's bring the brightness down. There we go. And I wanted to bring it to around the same darkness as the wood on the ground. And now you have this nice trap door right there in the center. If there's combat going on, players can open the trap door and kick a player down or throw stuff at players. Maybe some more guards show up and they're chasing you up the tower, and then you hear a couple of them downstairs and you throw some of that rubble down on their head. So a lot of cool things. Think about that. I'm not gonna, and I think what I'll do up here is I'll add some chests and I'll add in some crates and barrels. I always like to reward players if they defeated the battle downstairs, they figured out some clues, they read a book, and they go up to the next floor. You know, reward them with something. So I'll throw in a chest. Just type in chest. You can throw in a broken one. I like these ones right here. And we'll put it in a corner maybe. Make sure there's enough room. Let's put it in the far end of the room and we'll kitty corner it. Bring it down a couple layers. What I want to do is I want it to interact with the shadows. You see what happens when it's a layer above? It doesn't interact with the shadows of the shape tool. So drop it down and then just put it in like this somewhere. We'll have it up against the wall. And whenever I have, you know, stuff like that, I'll throw in crates and barrels as well. So put a couple over here. Put one over here in this corner. One here. And then we'll put one over here. Actually, let's put something else over there. Let's put in, let's close this. Let's put in like a chair. We could put in the stool that we had before. I think there was a stool right here. You can put that in. Let me just make sure that I have the scale right. I'd hate to have them be a different size. I think that looks about right. Let's go up a little bit more. Oh, go down. There we go. That looks about right. Okay. You want to have consistency in scale. That's always nice. Let's go just put a chair over here. And we'll go ahead and mess with the intensity of the blur. And then let's also take some wood as well. I'll type in wood. Oh, let's have some broken one. I think that would work better. Let me see if I can find it. This works great. It's right here. Notice how bright it is. So let's bring the brightness down a little bit more. And we'll place the wood just up to this. And remember, brown is a neutral color, just like that gray. So this brown wood looks good. Let's even put some going over the trap door as well. And then maybe some, I think that looks good right there. We'll stick with that. And what we can do is put a light source in this broken corner right here because light is going in from the outside. So just go to light. Put a light source here and then just put it right there. And now you got some light coming in from the outside. Put it right there. There we go. Now you have a light source lighting up the room. Let's turn off that grid so you can kind of see what it looks like. There we go. Let's go ahead and do 67 changes. We don't need to save it yet. Okay. Let's throw in some final details. I think what I'll do is go in here We'll go into texture and we're going to type in alpha. And what we could do is there's some rocks right here you could use. You could use mosaic tiles. You wanted to show some moss. There's more rocks here. You could also use this great cracked texture right here. This works great. In fact, I have it already here. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and paint that right over here where the rubble is, like this on the FG layer, and then it will create some cracked ground right here. There we go. So some nice cracked ground right there. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. All right, yeah, that looks okay to me. Maybe a little too dark right there, but I think overall it looks okay. And let's go ahead and use some more alphas. Let's use these rocks right here. Bring the size. Remember, you always have to scale. Bring the size down. There we go. And then place it right here. In fact, that looks a little too bright. Let's bring the brightness down. And then we'll bring the size of the brush down. And then put it right here. There we go. Okay, then we have some final rubble right there. Okay, I think that floor is, for the most part, done. We can go and move to the next floor. And it's that same thing we did before. In fact, we can go ahead and copy and paste this so we don't have to do change the stairwell again. You still want to have each one kind of going up. So we'll go ahead and turn the grid on. Make sure that it's snapped to grid and lined up. Yep, that looks good. Okay, push this down one more. Turn that snap to grid on. That way it snaps to it. And then we'll go ahead and use the floor again. If you want, you can rotate the grain of the floor as well. We can go to 180 or a 90. Actually, sorry, let's go to a 90. And then this way you don't have the same kind of floor. Just apply that. So now the grain is going the other way, as you can see. So look up here, you'll see the grain's going up and down, while here the grain is going left to right. That will kind of make it more interesting. And we'll end up deleting all this stuff in here as well. Don't need all this stuff. In fact, I'll probably end up deleting most of that rubble. There we go, delete the rocks. And let me see here, we have, yes, let's make this part of the floor where it's completely collapsed, or a lot of it's been collapsed. So we'll go in here, go click this, click portals, click the portal, and then press delete, and we'll get rid of the portal. And I do want to destroy a bit of the tower, a bit of the stairwell tower. What I want is that I want to have maybe some rubble blocking the steps going up to the next floor. And so the only way players will be able to get up to the next floor is to take some boardwalk that's been constructed on the outside. So we'll do that, and that's going to be really fun. So I'll open up the layer. I'm already in there. Let's take the rubble, and let's actually create the broken parts first of the floor. So we'll start here. I'm going to I think I'll put it there, like that. And then this will be the entrance. And what will happen is that players will have to, well, actually, no, let's not do it over there. Let's put it in a corner somewhere. And then yeah, let's do it like this. We're going to have it to where players are going to go out, walk up the boardwalk, up, and then go in. We'll put maybe an entrance up that way on the other side. So I think I'll do that. It's going to be my favorite part. We're at 40 minutes. We'll go for another 20 minutes, and then we'll call it good. Whatever we don't finish in this stream, we'll do it in the next one. So let's go ahead and do that portal. We're going to create a section in the wall like this. I'm going to move it a little bit so it's not like completely even. Let's turn the snap to grid off. I don't want it perfectly there. Well, no, actually that should be okay. Put that there like that. And then we'll go in and we'll type in maybe, let's type in wood again and see if there's some interesting stuff that we could use. One thing we could start with is maybe creating, let's just type in wood here and see what we got here. This could work here. If you wanted some just sticks, you could have, let's take a look here. You could just use pieces of wood that players have to walk on. It just depends how treacherous, how dangerous you want it to be. I think I'll just use this for now. and I'll try to maybe put something together, change the width of it, and of course it's so bright, so we'll bring the brightness down. And I kind of want to make it look like it's ramshackle, just kind of put together in an interesting way. And so we'll put this here. In fact, let's keep these over here. Let's start with the part going out being okay. So let's go with this one right here. And I'm going to scale it up so it fits right to there. There we go. We'll bring the brightness down. There we go. Okay. So that's going to go out, and then we'll probably have a series of boards that players have to walk on out on the exterior. We'll get to the next floor. So we'll put some there, right there. Okay. We'll get to that part. Let's do the rubble. Of course, you always want to do the rubble part. So we'll put some rubble here. Oopsie, it needs to go up a layer. Going to have some on top and some on the bottom. Just remember that. Let's put one right here just to hide the straight lines. That's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to hide these straight lines from the caps because there's no caps. So just using this is a way to hide those straight lines. Let's put another one right here, and then we'll go do the same thing. We'll use the darker ones, layer below. Like this. There we go. Put some in the corner there. Oopsie, I think it needs to go even down another layer. There we go. Okay. All right. That looks good. Put another one in this corner right here like that. There we go. So now you have all that nice rubble. Okay, let's put it right there. I think that looks good. Okay. Right, so this section of the tower has kind of been destroyed. We can even do more. I think I might do another section that broke. So we'll use the portal. Okay, there we go. And then we'll put tight right there in that corner. And then again, like I said before, you want to make sure you put the rubble on top to hide that straight line. Let's go with right there. And then another one right there I think might look good. There we go. That looks good. Let's put that one over there. Okay. And this way you have, it looks a little bit more interesting that way. Goes up to the next floor, and then we'll continue making the boardwalk. So I'm going to copy paste. Let's put another board. It's down. Maybe having one. Oh, let's go with poles. Actually, that'd be a good idea. Let's take a pole. This. Okay. And this is going to be the way that the tower, that these planks are staying there. There's that pole there. And I kind of want it to look as if it was kind of just pieced together instead of this really nice boardwalk. So we'll put in a couple of these. So this is holding it together. And I'll put some more over here. Let's put one holding here. Let's put another one right there. Another one right here. Right here. And then another one right there. Okay. And then what we'll do is we'll have these boards right here kind of go across like this. Let's put one right there. Copy, paste. Another one right there. Copy, paste. And let's go ahead and put a couple more to give more space in between them. Another one here. Copy, paste. Another one right there. There we go. We want the players to be able to travel across the boardwalk to get to that next floor. Copy, paste. Maybe have a section like this. And what might be nice too is to have a section that's completely broken, so your players have to like jump across. It's a nice little challenge there for your players. Copy, paste, put another one here. And what I'll do is I think I'll put another one of these right here, over here, but you can't see it going up to the next floor. I'll bring the brightness up a little bit so you know that it's higher up. Okay, there we go. So now you have walking out to here, and then this part right here, I'll actually put a square on right here like this so the players know that this is how you get up there. So I'll put it there, and let's rotate it a little bit so it looks like it's broken up. There we go. Okay, and I'll rotate this one a little bit too. There we go. Okay. So now you guys can see, I'll turn the grid off so you can kind of see that for yourselves. There we go. So that looks nice. So now your players go up the stairs, and then they go out on the outside to get to the next floor, which I think is always a nice little trick that you can do. Okay. Let's also make sure that we block the staircase right here because we don't want players to access this area. So we'll go ahead and put the rubble there. As you can see, it's kind of fallen apart. So this way players can't actually access that part. And I'll put some rubble on the staircase too. Just put some here. There you go. All right. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. I'm not going to put any combat or anything up here. I think I'll just put some crates and barrels. You could put like a journal, or you could put a chest with an item that's necessary to deal with the main baddie up ahead. You can throw in some adventure equipment, like maybe you want to put a backpack up there in a corner. Always think about just the theme of the floor. Maybe there's someone, a guard who's been staying up here. So we can put in like a bedroll if you want. You can put the actual bed up here too, like this. And let's scale that down a little bit. That looks pretty big. There we go. So we can put that in the corner there. Bring the brightness down. There we go. And I like to put like an item usually on there, so you can on top of the bed or whatever, so that way have that. And let's actually have it leaning off the bed a little bit. There we go. You have a little flask right there. Okay, and let's bring the brightness down a little bit on that too. There we go. And of course, last step, add in the light source. So this way it looks like there's light going in. And one thing you can also do is if you want to show that there's light coming from downstairs, you can put a light source at the bottom of the stair so that it looks like there's light coming from downstairs. You can do that if you want. So now you have the light going in like this. We can throw in just the last couple things. Remember, maybe we want to use that cracked ground texture. Always a nice little thing you can do here. Put on the circle. And we're going to go ahead and just put some cracks right here. Wherever there's rubble, we'll put some cracks on the ground. Oh, here looks good. There we go. Okay. All right. We're at 218 changes. Let's go ahead and do the last floor. I think we have 13 more minutes. Let's do it. Let's just save. And then we'll work on that last floor. Now it is, for me, I've had an evil wizard that's taken occupancy over the tower, or a goblin wizard really. So I want to make sure that the top floor is kind of dramatic and is something that is going to be different than the other floors. So I'll turn the grid back on. I am going to copy and paste this one right here because I do like the boardwalk. I don't want to have to make the boardwalk again. So I don't have to do that. So instead, I'll go ahead and just place this here. Make sure it lines up with the grid. And then what I'll do is I'm going to remove all the rubble on this floor because I don't need that. And then you also need to change up the staircase as well because you're at the top floor. There is no more upper floor unless you want to have something on the roof, which you can. Just going to go ahead and remove everything, and I'll have to fix a couple things here. Like I'll have to remove some of the portals and reset up the portals so that they're different. So I'll remove this one, delete, we'll remove this portal, delete, and we'll put another portal here. And let's just move it a little bit this way. I'll turn the snap to grid off. Let's move the portal so it kind of lines up with the wood. And then I also want to create some really a massive difference in how much the top floor has collapsed in comparison to the other floors. So I have a lot of broken spaces. Let's go ahead and throw on the wood, and I'll do a different grain thing here, and I'll put that here. Go to apply. There we go. Okay, that looks good. And of course, remember, we're going to put all that rubble. And let's put some rubble here. And then one thing you can do, by the way, is that you can, let's go, oopsie, I just noticed these have to go down a layer too. Oh, is this clipping mask? let's see here, template here. Where's my clipping mask? Is that at the very bottom? Cool. I think I'll have to put a clipping mask down to hide that. So we'll just go in to shape here because I've just used just the FG layer. So we'll go to clip, just type in clip like this, it'll show up. And then we'll put it down here because what I don't want is I want to hide those poles. And what I want to do is bring the brightness down on all these because what I want to do is show that it's further down. So I'll go ahead and just bring the brightness down like this. Not that. That's not good. There we go. See, now you can see it. And let's turn the grid off. That is just not looking good. So this shows that this is much further down. And in fact, I think what I'll do is I do want to have some of the portal covering this corner right here like this. There we go. Okay. And then we'll go in, put the rubble down. You know the rule, rubble, rubble, rubble. Rubble down there, put some rubble here, and put some right here. Like that, like so. There we go. And of course, again, the darker rubble. Put it down a layer. Okay, and in fact, I think what I'm going to do here is I am going to make the top floor be of entirely different texture. And what I think I'll do is I'll use something a little bit more interesting texture. And in fact, I could probably use a stamp. It might look more interesting. And in Eastern, there is some nice little stamps that are mosaics. So we could put a mosaic down, put it below. We're going to desaturate it, bring the brightness down, and then we have this kind of nice, interesting interior design, interior floor. There we go. We'll rotate this a little bit. So players go out, they go up, jump across here, go over to here, and then go inside to here. We'll come add in the last bit of rubble right here like this. Okay, there is no way to actually get up. So we'll just put lots of rubble here, lots and lots of rubble. There we go, that looks good. Okay. All right, this looks good. And I'm gonna flatten this texture to the FG because I wanna be able to take the cracked ground texture on top. Go in, put some cracked ground right here, here. There we go. All right. Okay. I think that looks good. And then, of course, the light sources for the outside, like we did. One right here, go up. And another one right here. And then we'll put another one right there. Okay. Oh, one more. Right there. There we go. Okay. The light sources are there. Let's go ahead and throw in something that the players can interact with. A fallen statue, a pillar, an altar. If it's a summoning thing, then, you know, we'll throw in something that players can interact with. A fallen statue works great. Maybe this is the reason why the tower collapsed, because the statue broke and fell down onto the tower. So you could do that. Put that down, and then we'll bring the brightness down. There we go. Now your players can hide behind the statue if a bad guy is attacking them, or if they need some cover. So there's a lot of things you could do. So having a little statue right there is good. People can maneuver around it, hide behind it, use it as cover. They can pick up the rocks and throw it at people. If there's minions up here, you can corner them into these corners and then kick them off onto the ground below. There's a lot of things that you can do. Just kind of a fun little thing that you can do. Let's throw in some eerie lighting, I think, because it is the final floor and I do want it to be a little bit different than the other floors. So what I'll do is I'll take a light source and I'll put it in the center and I'll change up the hue. I'll saturate it all the way up, and then we can put like an eerie green maybe. I think that would look good. And then let's throw in some atmospheric stuff like some sparks. Make it kind of look like either floating dust or whatever. Let's blur it. Let's bring the blur down a little bit. There we go. Bring the opacity down. Just kind of create some atmosphere. Actually, let's just turn the blur off. I think that should do okay. Let's take it down a layer so they're kind of green. Let's also put the statue down a layer. There we go. Oh, and this needs to go up. There we go. Okay. So now you have this kind of a little bit more unique. So let's step away for a second and just take a look at the changes that we've made. So we went ahead and created the ground floor, and it was where the guard room is. You could put in more bedrolls. You could throw in dirt. You could throw in more rubble, maybe some stones on the ground. You can throw in notes, whatever you want. You go up the floor and then over to the next one. You're going up, up, up into this floor. You see that there's a part of the wall that's kind of broken and fell apart. You got a chest. You have a way to go down to the next floor. And then in this second to the last floor, we created something totally different. We went ahead and blew out a lot of the walls. Oh, the trap door just goes down to the next floor. So if you were to fall down, the trap door would take you down to this right here, just so you know. Because this is a floor above the ground floor. So this is the first floor, ground floor right here. So that trapdoor will just take you down to the next floor. It could be used for various things. Maybe you just want goods to go down, up from the ground floor, up to the top floor. You could put a winch in there, a crane, a lot of different things that you could use the trapdoor for. It's up to you. And on this floor, again, players, as they go up the steps, they realize they cannot go up the next staircase because it was collapsed. So now they'll have to go onto the boardwalk right here, carefully climb up this, jump up, go across here, and then when they get to this section right here, that wooden part, they'll teleport over to this section right here and then go into the boss fight up here. Okay, and then there's no other way to get down except for to go back out and then take the staircase down to this floor right here. So it's just a little extra fun when you're throwing in something different, like every floor having the same way, just taking the stairs up. Adding a trap door is another way to transport, or you can have that exterior boardwalk that goes outward up to the next floor. It's just a way to kind of break up the monotony of it. Okay, so I think the next stream that we have coming up, we'll save it, is going to be environmental storytelling, or maybe it's Hangar Bay. I can't remember. I think it's Hangar Bay with the sci-fi style. I'll show you how to make a cool Hangar Bay in the inside of maybe like a big ship like a Star Destroyer or something. So that should be kind of fun. I love the new style. Sci-fi is amazing. Works great with the shape and line tools. So I'm really looking forward to kind of putting together the Hangar Bay so that you have a way to, it's great encounter map for if you're trying to escape a ship, or you just landed into a ship and you have a battle in the Hangar Bay, iconic battle in a Hangar Bay. All right, well, that is it. We've reached our hour mark. Thank you so much, everyone. Really appreciate you being here and enjoying the stream with us. I'm looking forward to seeing you all next week. So that's going to be fun. Please be safe, be healthy, merry map making, and I will see you next week, all right? Please have fun. Talk to you later. Bye.